Just like that. Welcome to this episode of Sports Rewind Digital Podcast, your weekly sporting news channel. Here again today with BJ and Davo. And tonight we have a special guest just after the tidbits, so hang around for that. Local baseballer, been here, there, and everywhere, has a pretty strong opinion on baseball, and love to have a chat with him. Now, fellas, how was the week or the weekend?
Yeah, pretty good. At least one of us turned up to baseball this week. I'll just leave it at that.
And how did that go for you, Davo?
Quiet, actually.
W, mate. You got the W?
Yeah, we got the W, playing on what a lovely field it was up there that the Mavericks have.
Beautiful.
How everyone went off without an injury is a miracle. Overrun by ants on every base and the mound there. Like, you had to literally shake your, don't know how I didn't get called for a balk. Like, you had ants crawling everywhere. So I think it was their pitch clock. One way to get you pitching faster.
Absolutely.
When the ants start biting you, you got to throw.
Lucky you weren't there before fourth grade, mate. You would have had to chase the cows off.
It sort of looked it, but with all the building they're doing around there, like houses going in everywhere up there.
Yeah, massive, mate. Hopefully they get a bit of funding towards their ground. It's good to have them in the comp, that's for sure. Randall, how about you, mate? I know you're down to Sydney for the boys' baseball. How'd that go?
Yeah, mate, big weekend. Mainly big weekend for the parents, as it always is. 4 fun-filled days of alcohol-infused mucking around. The boys went well, bit outgunned, as always, against some of those Sydney teams. But yeah, it was a good little initiative having that Newcastle Central Coast combined team for that tournament. It just brought out a little bit more, experience and whatnot to both teams. But yeah, as usual, we're well outgunned. Those kids down there are so well drilled, especially for that age group. Little league, we just couldn't really compete most of the time.
I spoke to Cav, and we're talking about that. And the good thing about it for the Newcastle and Central Coast boys that are playing in like the Down Under championships is they'll actually play with those kids. Yep. And, instead of being against them, they'll be on their team. And, it's going to help baseball grow and help kids develop. So,
yeah, 100%. Like, we played up against the Hunter Coast, played against, I think it's the Greater Western Sydney Warriors, I think it is. And, my young bloke, particularly some of the kids that he played in the Summer Sizzler with actually were on the opposition team. So, they were all chatting and whatever in between games. And I think we had a bit of a rain delay and there was some tic-tac-toe being played on a baseball between the dugouts, just stuff like that. It was really good, mate. It was a good little atmosphere. So
yeah,
our kids definitely learn a lot, So
that's good, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's it, mate. What more can you ask for?
Speaking of rain delays, got a bit of fan mail during the weekend. What's going on here?
Couldn't tell you. Don't really remember.
All I got was that photo and dirty waters. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, mate,
not 100% sure.
Could be another one coming soon.
Might have to go into details for those fans that are just listening and not watching on YouTube.
Thanks for that, Davo. It's how would you describe that, Davo? I'd say there's Randall and his wife in a nice smiling photo with one of the fans of the show, and I guess
someone spoilt it in the middle there.
Someone in the middle has got their middle finger fair up at us.
All I can see is a rose between two thorns.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Wow.
Mate, to be honest, I don't really remember. So. Yeah. I think that was still before 10 p.m. So
yeah,
the kids had an early game one day and then a late game the next day. So
fair enough.
The parents got a bit loose, I think.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, good stuff. For me, it was work. It was my first block back at work, so I didn't do anything over the weekend. And Yeah, I'm struggling to keep my eyes open tonight. We'll get out the baseball training during the week. I'm going to have a throw tomorrow night, so see how that goes. I'm getting closer towards a game of baseball with you blokes very soon, so excited for that.
Probably be the week Davo's out.
Nah, it's
Yeah.
the week before. He's going to show me a few tricks on that week that I'm there.
That's the week we got the bye.
Yeah, probably.
No, it's Belmont. He just wants to come back and throw against Belmont.
Oh, mate. Oh, I love it. Who said I'm throwing? Yeah, that's
the coach.
Yeah. Anyway. Righto. We're going to kick off with this week's tidbits. If you are a business that wants to get your 3 seconds of fame on the Sports Rewind podcast, here's your segment, the weekly tidbits. Mate, look at these specimens here, ready to talk about your business. But this week, we're going to kick off the tidbits. I think it is with you, Randall. Oh, no, it's not that one.
Yeah, that's
There
a tidbit.
There he is, Randall. No, it is you, Randall. I'm just a bit slow on the process, you know.
All good, mate. All right, so this week, Sandy Alcantara has given up 13 earned runs in 10 innings pitched and 11.7 ERA in his last 2 starts. His season ERA is now 5.84, despite throwing a complete game shutout on April 4. A little bit of a fall from grace from last year, isn't it?
It is indeed.
He was lights out last year
Yeah,
for the Marlins, and this year, oof, that's not a good start.
not a good start, mate, but, you know, season's early. You can bring it
Oh,
around.
yeah.
You
Of
know?
course you can. Of course you can.
Hope it's just a bump in the road. All starters have just a couple of starts where it's just not working for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you're Garrett Cole.
Mate, we'll talk about him later. He is unreal.
This is a good
Great
little
one.
one, actually. You know, something going, full circle. It's good to see. David Ortiz hit his 146th home run in his 2,751st at bat. Rafael Devers just hit his 146th home run, which was also in his 2,751st at bat. Is that an omen? Is it a sign?
Hope so.
What could he be?
Mate, in a couple of years' time when he's, playing somewhere else, who knows?
They won't let him go, mate.
He's
They won't
already
let him
signed
go.
long
They
term.
let everyone else go.
They won't let him go. He'll be a lifer there, and
I hope so.
Yeah.
It'd be good to see if he is.
I think
obviously-
his defense needs to improve. That's probably about his biggest downfall, isn't it, Davo?
Yeah, I think they'll move him over the other corner in time. If not, into that DH spot.
Yeah, he has all. He could very well be another Ortiz. He's probably never going to be as a prolific power hitter as Big Puppy. Like, I don't think there's going to be anyone like that again for a long time. But he's got some ability.
He's got him on the average, though. He's a better all-round hitter. Puppy come into his own with the power hitting and clutch power hitting. But I think Devers all-round bat, like he really goes opposite field and he bats for average. So I think that's going to be the big thing for him.
Yeah, for sure. I love watching him play. All right, Davo, over to you, mate.
Yeah, first one, we've got a bit of cricket this week, watching the IPL, and a nice little stat came up the other night that Sachin Tendulkar was there, and I saw this young guy, Arjun Tendulkar, and I thought, hang on, that's a familiar name. Sure enough, that's his son. So they're the first father-son duo to play in the IPL. And the funny thing is, Arjun is a fast bowler. The old man was a great bat, and he's the fast bowler.
Nice.
And that goes along with the first twins to play in the IPL. So it's Marco Jansen and Dwayne Jansen. So I only found that out once I found that photo. But the tidbit was about Sachin and his son being the father-son duo. So it's a pretty cool thing, and to watch his son do that. So, yeah.
It is. It's awesome. And I guess for us as baseballers, looking back and you think of Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey and how much fun they had playing in those couple of seasons and what they did together. And I actually watched that doco the other night again. It's it'd be awesome to be able to play with your kids. That's for sure.
Well,
Especially
he's not
back-to-back
playing.
home runs.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Sachin's not playing, but because he did play in the IPL, so they're the first father-son to play in the IPL. So unfortunately, it'd be great to see them play together, but unless Sachin's coming out of retirement.
I'm sure they've had some sort of game together though, but sorry, I misunderstood that, but yeah.
I reckon Sachin would probably still go well in the IPL if he came out and played.
Yeah, that Marco Janssen, I did see that actually when South Africa were out here playing, and they were talking about it, saying that he had a twin brother, and he bowls quicker than what Marco does. So,
and that's a fair effort because Marco gets it up there.
Yeah,
fair enough. I just want to let you guys know our guest is sitting there back in the green room. I can see him. He's pretty anxious to get on. 3 more, Dickie, and then we're on, mate. He's tucking into one of those chicken burgers there from Waterboard Oval. Randall's left a couple in there. A few VBs. He's getting primed. But
the
VBs won't be long,
that no one else wants.
Won't be long, mate. Won't be long. We'll have you on.
Second one, we're back to the baseball. Good old Randy Johnson. He had 5 consecutive 300-plus strikeout seasons from 98 to 2002. Since then, there's only been a total of 5 300-plus strikeout seasons by all pitchers. So just shows how dominating that guy was during that stretch of time.
Unreal. Love watching him pitch. Loved it.
Do you know who they were, Davo, the other 5?
I think Garrett Cole's one. Probably Pedro. I'd say Pedro Martinez, but I don't know. I didn't look at who the 5 were. And you think
Scherzer?
He might have been. And I think Randy was probably AL for a couple of those too, still with Seattle, which had the DH. So it's not like he was back in the day facing National Leaguers, facing number 8 hitters and then the pitcher. So just adds to how good he was.
Yeah. He was good.
That might be my homework, is find out who the 5 pitchers were.
I'd be interested to know.
Baseballreference.com might sponsor the segment next week, and we can talk about it then. But yeah, what about this one, fellas? I've got this one from the archives. Another Tony Gwynn one. Willie Mays was a 301 lifetime hitter in the big leagues. So we all know Willie Mays is one of the best. Tony Gwynn was a 302 lifetime hitter with 2 strikes. Mate, we all know how good Tony Gwynn was, and we talking him on this section a lot of the times. But yeah, what a freak!
That's unbelievable.
It is.
Most people would love a career, as you say, Willie Mays, 301. You'd love a 300 batting average for your whole career, let alone with 2 strikes.
Yeah, absolutely. And my last one, mate, Dak Prescott was scheduled to throw out the first pitch at the Texas Rangers games. Unfortunately, this was cancelled. The Rangers front office stating the reason for this, they did not want the first pitch to be intercepted.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
that's
he
great.
had a couple last year, old Dak.
He did, didn't he?
Had a few, but anyway. Well, that rounds out our tidbits, fellas. Thanks again for getting those in to me. It's always good fun to go through those. And we're going to introduce our guest. Our guest on the show, Jaron Van Dyke, plays a bit on the Central Coast in Sydney, and Newcastle's been all over the shop, played in Adelaide and all over the world, actually. He's the king of spoons. Some may say he looks like Daniel Vogelbach, but if you ask his teammate from up here in Newcastle, he just said he's got a head for radio. All right, I'm going to get him on. I'm trying my very best, but yeah, it's not happening. Here he is.
Boys.
Vicky, how are you,
Hey, mate.
All right, mate. I've done your little homework for you, Davo, and Garrett Cole, 2019, Verlander in 19, Scherzer in 18, Chrissy Sale, 2017, and Kershaw, 2015, are the last recordable guys with 300 strikeouts.
There you
Hey,
go.
beauty.
We've got
Kershaw
3
had
of them
that
at
many.
least.
That's exactly why we've got a bloke like this coming on the show tonight. How you been, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Just flat chat with work, as I was telling you guys before. So it's been a bit crazy lately, but looking forward to getting out in the paddock this weekend.
Who you playing for up here in Newey? Phoenix.
Yeah, I decided to roll back out at Phoenix for, I think this is my 24th year. There's a little bit of back and forth about some issues that were going down with the inside of the club and stuff like that. But I found it hard to kind of go away from what I knew for so long. And Phoenix have always been really supportive of me throughout my baseballing career. So stick strong.
Absolutely, mate.
Good man.
Always known, you know, to be in those Phoenix colours, and yeah, I guess who you've got lining up in your team this year?
It's a bit of a filling gap team at the moment. There's a few guys that have like committed but uncommitted. We're waiting on Lenny Pascoe to come back. He's got some stuff going on with his cycling. He's still raising some money, so get behind Lenny in that aspect. And still waiting on Roachy to commit. But as far as I'm aware, Spaz and Scotty have committed. Possibly Sturge.
Yep.
And then it's just filling the gaps. So I'd say 2Bs will get a run, and maybe Doodle and Gary Sheriff and a few other guys. So
Gary Sheffield, mate. That would
yeah,
be
mate,
right, wouldn't it?
put him out of retirement.
Fair, mate. Obviously, we've known you through baseball for a lot of years, and I guess how'd you get started in baseball? Let everyone know how you got started in baseball, mate.
Mum was an Australian softballer, and one Wednesday evening, her friend was out coaching at the old Hilton Moore Park, which is now just basically used for soccer, and Mum had to go and drop something off, and she took me along, and I picked up a ball and threw it, and her mum's friend said, you need to get him with a glove and get him into a sport, and Mum just assumed I was right-handed, so she bought me a right-handed glove, and wondered why I had to throw it off my hand every time I had to throw a ball. So in the end, Mum realised pretty quickly that I was going to be a lefty, not a righty, and yeah, so I just started out that way. Mum being a softballer, and one of her friends got me into T-ball and took to it like a duck out of water, and off I went. Still playing today.
Yeah, good stuff. I mean, you've been through, you know, Newcastle and Central Coast, and played in the Sydney League and New South Wales Country, Australia Provincial. You know, there's been lots of different, I guess, aspects of where you played. What are some of your highlights in your time in baseball?
Definitely the time playing for Australia. Obviously, anytime you get, whether it's provincial or the Australian, I guess you'd call them major league team, provincial being like a feeder club for them. But anytime you can pull on the green and gold is pretty special. Being able to do it, especially in my case, in front of family when we were touring through Germany and through Holland and Belgium, had a lot of family there that I hadn't really ever met from my dad's side. So being able to play in front of them was pretty surreal. And then when I come back, being involved with the Claxton Shield setup down in South Australia, that was really eye opening, and I think it helped my baseball go to a bit of a different level. And then back-to-back premierships at Port Adelaide. That was really special because they went from a club who were dominant in the 60s and 70s and kind of fell off for a long time, and then they went out and spent some money, and we went from 14th to 1st, 14th to 2nd in the first year I was down there, and in the last 2 years we went back-to-back. So that was pretty special to be involved in that, and the club there just has a great setup, and people involved were just amazing. it literally felt like home. So once I moved back from Adelaide, probably the highlight of being back around was the back-to-back premierships that Davo was our coach for at Marlins. For 2 years, we just had a bunch of fun, bunch of guys that just wanted to play ball, played for each other, and we were just successful. So when that kind of crumbled, it kind of pushed me away from Central Coast and been down at Borkham Hills for 13 years now. So that was quite good. After leaving Marlins, we won a premiership my first year at Borco, so that was good to keep that streak going. But yeah, it was just a shame to leave Marlins, but a lot of players weren't coming back, and Phil decided to step down as coach because he had some stuff going on, and yeah, it was a little bit shitty, but it just led me to a different experience with a different bunch of guys. Growing up playing against those guys, and then becoming teammates, it was really unique.
Yeah, I know Davo speaks very highly of those days, mate, and that second grade team, Davo, we always talk about it, mate, and it's it was a great mix, and for Davo was basically there guiding you guys. There were so many different personalities on that team and so many talents on that team. It was David, run us through some of those people that are on that team, because that was a gun side.
Yeah, we went all right. And you should say, like, a lot of mixed guys there, as you say. You had sort of the hotter heads like Jaron and sort of Brotho there, and Brendan Lower, old Tex. He was part of it. And then you had the laid-back guys like Cammy, Dolly Moore, Growth, and we had Youngie in there. But we sort of, the guys just gelled together. It's like, you'd think it shouldn't work, but it did. And they were, as Jaron said, they were there for each other and just played as a team and wanted to be there every week for each other and enjoy the game. It was an enjoyable time to come and turn up to the ballpark. And that's what we tried to make it. We had kangaroo court after each game, which everyone got hammered on. And it was just a privilege to sort of coach those guys and bring the first title to the Marlins and then back it up following year, and then the third year we fell one game short. So it was a pretty good streak.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Dickie, you talk about Port Adelaide baseball, mate, and you mentioned 14 teams. He's a 14th, and then he went from 14th to second. Does that comp still have 14 teams, do you know?
No, they've dropped it back a little bit. Some of the teams just couldn't compete, so they kind of amalgamated. But like, as far as I'm aware, there's still a solid 12 teams down there at the moment. So
yeah, right.
It's still a red hot comp, and the way they had everything set up down there was outstanding. They allowed a maximum of like 3 imports, of which you couldn't have an American or an international pitching to an international. So that they couldn't form just your battery. So you just went out there and killed people. You could have a field player and a pitcher, or 2 field players and a pitcher. Imported pitchers were capped at 15 games for the season, and this was back when we did like what the Major League do. You play a twilight game midweek and then a game on the weekend. So basically, you trot your best pitcher out there once every week or once every second week, looking for a win, and it just made it so much more of a better dynamic, because the clubs that didn't have the money, they still went out and got imports that were very competitive, and obviously the top echelon clubs that had a little bit more money, they went out and got the better imports, and it made like that top 6 really, really competitive.
Yeah.
And then you throw into the mix a lot of the ABL guys and ex-Australian players that were still playing, and like the comp was ridiculous.
Randall's got a bit of a party going on there in the background there. He's got a few boys over in the background. I've just muted him for a second. Just unmute yourself, Randall, when you need to talk.
That's just a carry on from the Pitwater Carnival, isn't it?
No, mate. Young fella's 12th birthday, so he's got some mates having a sleepover being school holidays. So, yeah, It's
Beauty.
ruthless here at the moment.
Spread cordial for everyone.
Night.
Oh no, they're straight on the Pepsi. I think
Oh, you beauty.
they're fully loaded. Snake bites, lemonade
Oh,
and raspberry or something. I don't know.
that's awesome, mate. We talked, Dickie, about your touring in the green and gold, mate. You went overseas. You've done a few tours. That 2005 tour, I think it was 2005, wasn't it? The Germany,
2004.
2004, was it?
Yeah.
Germany, Belgium.
France.
That's it. France. We went to a few places, mate. Yeah, plenty of different people, and you know we got to meet different people while you're over there, and you play against these guys in the different championships and that. Do you see or do you talk to many of the guys that you played with within that, or but also when you played down in Adelaide, you're still pretty connected to some of these blokes?
Yeah, mate. I still have a lot to do with a few of the guys that we toured with, like obviously yourself, and a few of the other coast boys that we toured with. Also, Lee Carpenter, who was from South Australia, who recruited me to go and play at Port Adelaide. I still talk to him a fair bit. So yeah, I try to keep in contact with them, and then I keep in contact with a few of the German national guys that we played against.
Yeah.
And until recently, God rest his soul, I was still really connected with Luke Van Milne, and a lot of his mates. So I was really saddened and shocked at the news involving him, and that really hit close to home because being a fellow Dutchie, we really connected when we played at Port, but also just on a cultural level, we had a lot to do when we lived together. So I'll try to stay in contact with a few of the boys, and Facebook really helps that. So a lot of them now have stopped playing.
Yep.
I still stay in contact with guys like Skinner and Dan Riemann.
Yeah.
Wellesley and Wardy. Caught up with Wardy at the ABL this year, and saw Wellesley as well. So yeah, it was for those type of tours. It was amazing just to meet different people from different walks of life, so to speak, and being able to stay in contact with them since those tours it's been great.
Absolutely, mate. Obviously, we've all met some great people and are friends with lots of people through baseball, and it's been definitely a great journey to be on.
Absolutely.
You guys got anything for Dickie before we move on?
And continue on, really.
Yeah.
We're all still going, and we'll see what happens on Saturday.
Yeah.
If you don't do a back injury or leg, what was it in the grand final that was up with you? The summer grand final just gone?
Nothing. I just got dragged for what do you call it? Tactical dragging.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with 0 for 2 and just didn't look comfy.
No.
Just trying to get it all in now before Saturday when you probably light us up like a Christmas tree like you used to.
No, it was a tactical move. I didn't agree with it at the time, and to be quite honest, probably still don't. But it is what it is, mate. Been around the game long enough to realise you just let those things pass.
Yeah,
and that's it. We do have a lot of history there. So say the old Pirates versus Bears days. I still remember them. Sort of standing on the mound there, trying to throw it as hard as you can, hiding behind the mitt, hating everyone. So it's good to see you mellowed in your old age. Not.
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah, the old fastball and the sneaky fucking knuckle puck.
The knuckle puck still works. The fastball's not there anymore, though.
I used to refuse to warm up with you if I was playing any team because you just bring that knuckle puck and it almost hit you in the face every single time.
Yeah, a few of them have suffered that wrath, and on other body parts. My old man copped an absolute shellacking when he was catching to me when I was growing up. Anytime I'd shake the glove to say here comes a knuckleboy, he'd be like, "Don't you even think about it."
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, there's good times with that.
So your old man, mate, was he a pitcher? What did he do?
He was a catcher. When he played, like Dad was rugby his whole life up until he went into the Navy. But when he did play baseball, he was a catcher. So third, played a couple of games in second grade, but normally a third or a fourth grader. Just loved it. Just got out there and just wanted to understand it, because at the time he was coaching as well. So he did a lot of coaching when I was a junior. Some with the old politics of you only make teams because your dad's a coach or your mum's on the board or whatever it was, that crap that went on. But Dad never let that phase him, and he really loved the game. And it hurt me a couple of years ago because he wanted to come out of retirement and have a season with me. But the laws that are put in place by people wouldn't allow me to drop down to third grade to play a season with him. So that thing all died in the backside, and it's something that I'm envious of guys who have had the opportunity to play if they're old men.
Yeah.
I would really have loved to have done that, but when Dad was playing, I was playing second or first grade at 12 and 13 years old. So never really got the opportunity to have a full season with my father.
Yep. Yeah. It's cool, mate. Yeah, would have been obviously a good one. I can't say I've had a game with my old boy. Made a few chicken burgers at the canteen with him. That's about it. But,
yeah, he could make a mean chicken burger.
Yeah, I reckon we'll get him out of retirement this year at some stage. He come and flip a few burgers.
You'd have to, mate. Just advertise it, and the profits will double for that day. They'll come from around the street for him.
I'm sure he'll fix you up with a bit of a runny egg, mate.
Yeah, I bet he will. He was good for those ones too. I still owe him a few.
Yeah, I'd stitch up runny egg, eh?
Yeah.
Classic. Righto, fellas, we're got a fair bit on tonight. We're gonna probably go to NRL next. Randall, have you got anything prepared for the NRL? Because I've got bugger all prepared here.
I had nothing prepared, but I wing it. You know how it is.
Yeah, beauty.
Just don't mention that side from the Northern Beaches.
Oh, come on, mate.
Stop it, mate. We just gave the Storm what they deserved. Another loss.
100%. 100%. Like a sooks. Yeah, well, whoa, just blowing my screen out here. Yep. Yeah, so it was a big weekend, actually. There's some good games. Dolphins copped another loss from the Rabbitohs, 36-14. I don't know how everyone else's tipping went, but I did go 7 from 8 this week, so that was a good start. Cronulla beating the Roosters. I did pick it. No one else probably did because it was a stupid pick, but anyway. Sharkies 22-12 over Roosters. The one that nobody probably got right except for those fans. Jughead, probably you. Manly 18 over the Storm 8.
All day, every day.
Good game. Good game. Good to see Oldham got absolutely belted. There's nothing better than seeing that. That bloke, block of granite.
Couldn't happen to a nicer bloke. Oh, that's right. There's a few others.
That's it. It was great to see. That was a good game. That was a cracker.
Warriors turned up. They turned up and played well.
They did.
Yeah, they got blasted during the week.
They needed to after the Knights game. Warriors 22 over Cowboys 14. Game that broke my heart, as always. Knights defeated by the Panthers 16-15 in Golden Point. I was shattered. I took the Panthers, but anyway, it was a great little thing that we were sitting down in Pittwater RSL, and they had the Little League association dinner, basically, so a tournament dinner. So we had 14 Newcastle kids sitting there watching the big screen, and then there was a table in the middle, then 14 kids from Greater Western Sydney, and the banner that was going on was unreal. I loved it. They were across the table yelling at each other, and up the Knights, up the Panthers. Panthers suck dick, and all this sort of stuff. It was great. Went on for the whole game, and unfortunately, as the rest of the weekend turned out, Newcastle went home with their tail between their legs.
Panthers just put together the perfect six, though, in Golden Point. They just ran it hard up the middle and just made 10, 15 metres on each carry. And next thing you know, you're leaving Cleary 40 metres out for the drop goal. So they're just clinical in that.
And he wasn't going to miss 2, was he?
No.
He'd already missed 1. He wasn't going to miss another 1.
And he only did it a handful of weeks ago against Para when he kicked it from, 45 out.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You can't let him get that sort of field possession. The controversy, though, the hair pull. Did anyone else see that?
I didn't even, look, to be honest with you, it didn't even look like a hair pull. It looked like he grabbed him on the shoulder and reefed the jersey. Like,
that's what he was going for.
Luai's a cat, mate. He should go to England. That's English behaviour.
Yeah, and I have not heard one, except for Graham Annesley, come out to say, "Oh, what's a referee supposed to do?" Well, it's not a penalty, champ.
Yeah,
that's what it is. But everyone else, every other player, ex-player, have all said the same thing. Like, mate, his hair goes halfway down his back. He's grabbing the jersey. He's not grabbing it up on his head. He's grabbing on his jersey. It got some of his hair as well at the same time.
Gee, Tallis gave a good spray, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Triple M. Oh,
yeah.
But you don't see the women's football. Same shit happening, do you? You don't see them complaining about it or anything like that. Like, mate,
never saw it happen to Kevin Hardwick, did you, Hutto? Him or Jeff Robinson? Never a drama back in the day for those boys.
Blocker Roach would have just patted him on the head, but I know that was the referee. Sorry, my bad.
You wouldn't see it happen to Hutto either.
Easy fix, though, Randall. If they had hair like mine and Dickie's, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, just shave it off, mate.
Oh, do you shave it, do you?
Nah, it just fell out on its own. Ran away, find a bit of head.
The Broncos absolutely pumped the Titans, 43-26. Pretty close game early. Once they had a player sent to the sin bin, it sort of blew out pretty heavily. Raiders, they toughed one out, 2014 over the Dragons. Don't know if anybody watched that one. It was a pretty heated match. I listened to it on the radio driving home from Sydney on Sunday, but sounded like a pretty fiery game. And then Davo, you dirty dogs, mate, got done by the Slippery Eels, 30-4. What happened, mate?
Oh, mate, we've got a reserve grade team out there.
Oh, here we go. Here's the excuses.
We never said we're going to make the top 8.
Oh, well, no.
We'd be around there. But
Phil Gill said you were going to win it.
When have you ever listened to
There's your first problem.
Yeah. I always thought 10th or 11th would be us this year, and I think we'll struggle to actually make that now of some injuries. But I back Parramatta. So as hard as it is knowing Parramatta and how much I hate them, when footy tipping and money's involved, that's how confident I felt about the Bulldogs.
Yeah, for sure. And then to round out the weekend, the Tigers defeated by the bye. Sorry, Hutto. Right. They're still on 0 points, champ.
We'll make the top
20. $1.90.
We'll make the top 20, though, I reckon.
Oh, you will, but you won't make the top 18.
No, that's for sure. You know.
Yeah. So end of the weekend, the Broncos are still out in front, 12 points. Panthers 10, Warriors. They're still sitting up there on 10 points, equal second. They've still got the bye too to come. So they're looking all right. Manly in 4th. Rabbitohs, Sharks, Storm, Dolphins to round out the 8. Notable, obviously, Roosters and Eels not in the top 8.
Beautiful.
So it's happy days at the moment.
So how long are we giving Griffin down in St. George before
he should already be gone? He should be gone.
Yeah,
they're even talking Desi. Desi going down.
They've already advertised. I think they've already had interviews or something for coaches. I'm sure I heard that last week.
But Ben Hornby's already interviewed, and Anthony Seabell come out today and said that he's happy for Flano and endorses Flano to go and have an interview and potentially go down there. Because if Flano leaves, then that opens the door for Laurie Daly to come back in now that the betting skin has been relaxed.
Okay. So is Flano's suspension all complete now? And
it must be close, to be honest, because if it's not completed, it'd be nearly done. Because the Dragons showed interest at the start of the year when there was all that kerfuffle, will Griffin see the first month out? And they all roads led to Flano. So I'd assume he's pretty well ready to coach again.
Is Dean Young a possibility, do you think?
Well, they're talking about Nathan Brown too. They're trying to bring Nathan Brown back to the club, but they want him for the pathways.
I did hear Young's name mentioned, like they were talking about the former St George players. So they mentioned Hornby, Young. You always go those guys, and yeah,
Trent Barrett.
and
Jason Riles was another.
Yeah, Riles.
He's fairly tied up though with Melbourne, isn't he?
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine.
Don't want him to leave. They probably want him to take over from Bellamy next year.
Yeah.
I think Flanagan would be a good fit. And I know they didn't mention Desi, but I think Desi gets mentioned when any coaching job's going.
Give it the
Maybe
twos.
That's true.
Give it the twos.
Bring back
Tim
twos.
Sheens.
There needs to be an investigation.
I can get Tim Sheens there because he probably won't last much longer at the Tigers either.
You won't have a job soon, mate.
Mate, he was only there for 1 year. He might as well just go now.
Yeah.
Hand it over to Benji and Robbie. They're not going to do any better, but anyway.
It's not like you can go back to the Balmain Leagues Club and have a million beers either. Isn't that place shut as well?
Yeah,
Yep.
No money.
Head out to Campbelltown, mate.
They're good. But
Yeah, so
anyway, big week
looking
of footy
forward-
coming up.
Looking forward, I don't know. It doesn't look like there's too many blockbuster games. I think Thursday night you've got the Panthers and the Rabbitohs. That should be a pretty good game. Broncos and the Eels, you'd expect the Broncos to run all over the Eels the way they're playing at the moment. But you never know.
Depends
Doggies
if
and
it's
Sharks.
a CommBank.
No, I think
TIO. It's in Darwin.
Yeah, wow.
Oof. It'd be nice
Oh,
and
that-
humid.
Yeah, that'd be sticky as.
Bit moist.
Bit moist up there. Other than that, it sort of looks like there's going to be a lot of one-way traffic. Oh, Storm versus Warriors. Warriors are always been the Storm's little bogey team too, and Warriors are playing good footy at the moment, so that might be an interesting game on Sunday Arvo.
Fair enough. All right. NRL. Dunskies. What else we got today, mate? We've got, how about the Australian Ice Hockey League has kicked off again. The old Newcastle North Stars got an absolute shellacking there from Melbourne over the weekend. I think it was 10-0 or 10-1. I know their imports haven't come yet. Big shout out to those Newy North Star boys. Plenty of young fellas coming through, which is really good to see. The league has expanded. I know there is Central Coast Rhinos back in there too this year, which is pretty cool to see. I assume they're playing out of Erina, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah, they are. There's a couple of guys that I used to work with in security. One's now a copper, and one still works for ING. So they've stepped up this year and gone back to play. But yeah, they'll be playing out of Erina.
Yeah, I know one bloke that was a security guard. I know you're friends with. There was one playing for Newcastle North Stars for many years. I don't know if there's many of the North Stars gone down to the Rhinos because it's closer to home, or but it should be good for the competition. And Melbourne Mustangs and Thunder, Melbourne Ice, the Bears and the Ice Dogs are in one part of the draw, and then we've got Canberra Brave, the Lightning, North Stars, Rhinos, and Adelaide Adrenaline. I'm pretty sure the Lightning are a new team as well, which is cool to see.
They did touch the Rhinos up, the Lightning. The Lightning touched up 17-0.
Yeah, right. Wow.
In the first game.
That's pretty handy. I know, they haven't had a team in Brisbane there for probably 10 years, so it's great to see there. Got a team in and got a pretty good import range as well, which is great to see. So go out and check out the local ice hockey league closest to you. There's teams all over Australia, and you won't be disappointed with some of the standard of ice hockey, that's for sure. Righto, what else have we got? What about this? I'm going to share my screen with you guys, but it's something that we've talked about on here before is the Aussie Drop Bears going over to play in against the Savannah Bananas, and that team just got announced. Is that showing on your screen there, fellas? Yep.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah. So yeah, the Aussie team. A few names there that we've
Heath Gray.
And should be good to see these guys go around over there against the Savannah Bananas. Now,
Throw the coaching staff in there to play.
Yeah, have a look at that.
Thomas. That's your bullpen.
That's a handy pitching staff.
Yeah.
So plenty of experience there to help these guys go through. If you haven't seen the Savannah Bananas, go and have a look. We go onto the osball.com.au to check out. There's a little video there of what the Bananas are doing, and also the little promo there for that team that will be going over to play against Savannah Bananas. So great opportunity for those guys. And yeah, go and check out Savannah Bananas on socials, on their YouTube. You can watch all their games live, all under that 2-hour bracket, which is pretty cool to see.
They're a lot of fun. It's a good form of baseball. And seeing our mate bat while in stilts is it's pretty good. And even pitching. And he's a big target at first.
He is a big target. Well, there's heaps in sport. I'm going to touch on a couple of these because I know we haven't watched much of it during the week. We've watched a fair bit of baseball, but the NHL are in the playoff series now and in the first round. And mate, there's 16 teams playing now in round one to move on to the second division. Dickie, do you follow much of the NHL, mate?
Yeah, I do, mate. Normally a Blackhawks fan, but keep an eye, basically throughout the league, see what's going on. And if I get a bit bored of watching it, I'll end up jumping on the PS5 and having a game.
Yeah, that's the way to do it, mate. Bit of fun there. Should be a good series there. Boston Bruins have been absolutely outstanding. So I think they take on Florida, don't they? First in the first round. Not 100% sure on that, but
they'd be one of the favorites, wouldn't they? Boston and Colorado.
They'd have to be.
Yeah, won the most games, so they're definitely up there.
The
other one was
Kings won today. I think they came from behind.
Yep. No, I haven't caught up with a whole great deal of it, but we'll have some for you guys next week on the show, that's for sure. What about the NBA? The NBA playoffs are coming, and the amount of teams in the final series is ridiculous. Now, we talk about baseball having, 30 teams and a big playoff series. I believe there's 30, or is there 31 teams in NBA? I think there's 30, isn't there? There's 16 teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think it's 30, and they're looking at expanding still.
Yeah. A fair amount of teams, and the playoffs are about to kick off. Boston have got to be up there as one of the favorites, as well as Milwaukee. Who else is there? Golden State's up there, and Timberwolves, I believe. From what I've watched in the last sort of few weeks, they're the red hot favourites. Randall, your young bloke might know a bit more about this. Has he been watching much of the basketball?
Yeah, he has, but you know how much of a fan I am of it, so there's a lot of tuning out.
Fair enough indeed. Oh well, that's on. NBA's on. Can't get over that though. Can't watch NBA over the baseball at the moment. It's been some red hot games. We're getting closer to talking about our baseball tonight. let's talk about our local baseball league. Now, got a few washouts over the weekend. I know, Davo, you got a game in third grade. Did you guys get a game in, Jaron? Or did you just get washed out?
No, mate, we got washed out. We were at the new waterboard, aka Phoenix. Just no hope, mate. Like the grounds crew there at Phoenix Doodle and the boys have done an amazing job to try and get it playable, but it's just been smashed with water. Hopefully we get on this weekend. I haven't had any chats with Doodle or 2Bs throughout the week yet, so I might make contact with them tomorrow and see how we're looking.
Yep.
I think we've got late rain due closer to the weekend. So
of course we do.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, there was one first grade game in during the week, and that was Belmont and
White Sox.
Belmont come away 10 runs to 5. I did hear it was 12-5, but this is on the website, so I'm going with this. Some big notables here, mate. We had our Alexander Wells come in and pitch a few innings there for Belmont late in the game by the looks of this. I don't know if he started or he come on later, but come on and threw a couple of innings there. Obviously, a big one for Newcastle Baseball. Was in the Herald during the week, getting a bit of exposure to baseball. We all know the story with Alexander Wells, but it's great to see him having a throw here in Newcastle, and it's going to be great for the competition. Any other names on this sheet here, fellas, that have come through for you guys that are standouts? I haven't played in the
Brownie's
first
been
weeks.
around for a while. Brownie and Drysy.
Yeah, Mark
Dry's
come
first
back.
year back.
Yeah, which is good to see.
The one
up from Sydney.
The one notable would be Reezy not playing, but apparently he moved to Queensland for work, so that's why he's not at Belmont.
And probably Streety making the move from Boomers over to Belmont.
Yeah.
There's a couple there. Thomas Cunningham, he's gone from Boomers over as well. Obviously Parker, Jughead, you probably know him down the coast. Parker Robinson.
Oh yeah, okay.
So it's his second year sort of playing there.
Strikeout.
Oh yeah.
Did it last year in twos. Last year or year before in twos. Can't hit the slow.
Young Lachlan Jones is there. He had a run. He caught for them. He'll be off overseas, I'm pretty sure, sometime this year to go to college.
He caught for us as well, so it's good to see.
Yeah,
Lady as well. He's been playing pretty well.
Yeah, he made the move as well.
Good bloodlines.
He made the move from, I think, is it with you guys last year, wasn't he, Jughead?
Yeah, he had 2 years with us and left like most of them do. They come for a season or not. I didn't notice on the Belmont list, but is Tristan Watts' name down on Belmont?
Let's have a look, mate. Mitch Watt is there.
Yeah, that's his younger brother then. So the red hot tip was that Tristan wasn't playing Phoenix this year. He was going to Belmont because a few of the boys had been in his ear and he was sick of getting pumped every week.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I got pumped for the first 30 years of my baseball. I think I only played 28. Yeah, it's mate, it's part of the game. You're going to go through cycles and rebuild cycles, and
absolutely.
You know what it's like. Done it. That's it, and staying strong with your club is, possibly the hardest, but also the best thing you can do. I know we went through a stage where we dropped our first grade in Toronto, and it was pretty heartbreaking. But that year in second grade, we rebuilt, and we're back there in first grade, and look what the club's doing now. So
yeah, I was president that year, and to do that was a pretty hard thing, and I copped a lot of shit, of shit for some long-time members of the club and stuff like that. And it's like, well, mate, we're getting beat 20+ nil every week. and we haven't got anyone to name in first grade. We're naming blokes that should be playing fourth grade or lower to play first grade. It's not fair. It's not even safe for these guys to be doing it. Like Jaron, you remember when we were struggling those years way back, and we were a laughing stock. And that 1 year we had off, and the next year we had all of a sudden we had people like Boss and Moko come through from juniors, and Luke Downey made a miraculous return, and all these sort of guys. Darbs turned up.
Luke Bryan was there as well.
Yeah, all of a sudden all these players turned back up. I know Hutto, we had a good long chat about it too, and you were about to hang up the boots.
Yeah,
you had enough. We had one season of second grade, and it was having Canadian clubs on the way to the game, and all of a sudden it just reinvigorated everybody.
Yeah,
we weren't allowed to make semis or anything like that. We were told we can't play semi-finals or anything, but we still had a good time.
Yeah, that's it. It was a solid rebuild for the club, and mate, it's what was needed back then. So
those people that can stick by their club, like Jaron, like yourself, mate, like staying with Phoenix, even though the club's struggling, it's a show of character too. Of those people that shows what sort of a person you really are. To say, I'll stick by this club. No matter what.
Mate, you stick like if you go somewhere. To me, like loyalty was always a big thing that my parents drilled into me growing up, and there were certain situations that forced my hand with club changing on a few things on the Central Coast here. But Phoenix, mate, the first day I went up to Phoenix, I remember Mitchell Dry's old man was talking to me because he come down and played a season at Pirates, and they convinced me to come up to Phoenix and have a bit of a look around and stuff. And just the first day I got there and signed up, just everyone, like your Strangies and your Koshes, Andrew Collington and a lot of those guys, when they were all around, they just made you feel so welcome. And then obviously my first season at Phoenix playing juniors, I played half a season, and then I finished the season off in second grade and first grade. And the next season we had Ronnie and Chad Roberts and Dane Tomaszewski and a few other guys come up to the club, and all of a sudden we're winning a premiership in first grade, and I'm sitting around going, holy shit, like these guys have played Australian provincial or they've been signed athletes. And that's just why I just, as much as I was angry at some of the stuff that's going on, I just couldn't walk away from the club. So I think people that stay, as you said, Randall, it really shows character in the people. And it just shows like you're there for the good times, but you're also there for the bad times, and plenty of clubs are going to have bad times. You've gone through it, we're going through it. We folded, mate. We got kicked off our ground because of the Knights, and then we folded. We revigorated ourselves, or returned from the ashes, as we do. And like my biggest fear obviously is that we fold again. And unfortunately, I mean, Doodle's crying out for players at the moment, but I just think we need to get some guys in, because we're getting to the point where it's getting very skinny numbers. And I know a lot of clubs are struggling with numbers, but the worst thing is having teams fold. And like I look at the Central Coast comp, mate, there's, I think, 2 teams that can fill a first grade team.
There's 2 grades, third and fourth grade. That's it.
Is there really? Yeah, I haven't been able to keep up with it, Phil, because of work and stuff. But if that's just bad.
Wolves were pretty much the only club that could do a first grade, so they've gone and joined PCL, the Pacific Coast League down at Hornsby and all that. Dodgers, I think, were close, but no one else.
They're playing second grade for Phoenix. I spent the weekend with Bonnie, obviously down. His young fella was playing with my young bloke, and they're all playing second grade. So
well, they'll be first graders then.
Well, that's it. Yeah, I think he said that the weekend there's 6 of them or something come up, and 4 of them have already been asked to double up on the weekend.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of it.
Well, we're the same. So even though the club's strong, every week we've got many people out with work. Everyone works every second weekend, or people like Hutto, it's about to be week 4 and he still hasn't even gone close to putting a uniform on.
Yeah, mate, come on. I'm just starting to get the arm ready now. Davo said he's a couple of weeks away. He's out, and Ebony's out. So I guess I might go left-handed.
Building up
Oh,
arm
that's
strength now.
You
Yeah,
beauty.
well, this is what the coach is thinking at the moment. It's not good.
Yeah.
We're getting
Hey,
desperate.
I thought I was playing 4th grade, but anyway.
You're desperate when you
see.
got a 49-year-old throwing for you.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. Well, Newcastle Baseball's kicking along. We've just ticked over an hour, fellas. It's usually we're usually on here for about an hour, and we haven't even got to MLB yet. So, for those that are still listening and watching away, if you're on YouTube, make sure you click subscribe, and if you're listening on the podcast, give us a 5-star rating. Randall, MLB, mate. We've seen a few big things happen during the week. The last week we talked about the Rays being 13-0. They're now 14-3. So we were talking last week. I think it was 12-0, and we're wondering what the record was. 13-0. 2 teams have done it before, so it was a good one for them. 13-0. They're now 14-3. But for you guys, some of the highlights for your week. I know I've got a few written down here, but is there anything that stands out? Let's start with our guest. Have you watched much of the baseball this week, mate?
Yeah, mate. Been watching me Bravos towel them up. So it's been good watching Matty Olsen get his swing back to where he was a couple of years ago in Oakland. That's been really good. But I think the overall excitement for the comp is having Acuna back at full health and seeing what he's doing, especially utilising this to throw over with the new rules and stuff. So I think the biggest thing I took away from it was that I thought Vaughn Grissom would be the starting shortstop, and they went with Arcia. So that kind of blew me away a little bit. But casting my eye across the rest of the league, it's what I like is that the teams that have been in the doldrums, Pirates, Cincinnati, they're actually playing some really good baseball. They've got some young guys that are really putting in. Feel sorry for anyone that supports Oakland, unfortunately. They just look like they're just not going to do anything anytime soon. And Baltimore's still going strong. So what they started 2 years ago, they're going strong. So, and I loved seeing the Angels give it to them spastic Sox today too.
Yeah.
Rain delay and all.
Mate, I had that one on. I think it was about 2:30 it started our time, which is
yeah, mate. I had that on at work and then had to
night shift served me well. And mate, Joey in those first couple of innings, the movement that he had on the ball was insane. It's pissing down raining, and he's throwing his slider or sweeper or whatever they call it for him.
Oh, the frisbee.
And, did you see? Sorry, in that game today, did you see when his pitch comm didn't work?
Yeah,
and they couldn't figure out what was going on. So the pitch comm communications didn't work. So I think maybe it might have been from the rain or whatever. It was pissing down, and the commentators are going, "Oh, well, they could always go back to just the normal signals, blah blah blah," and then they talk about, how many pitches he's got. How do you give signals to a bloke that's got 7 or 8 pitches? I'm like, yeah, interesting point. But, mate, watching him pitch this morning was pretty cool to see.
Oh, he's been dominating, mate. He's just what I want to see is, fast forward free agency. There's been some numbers thrown out in respects to what he could earn, and when you put it into perspective, he's what, top three pitcher, probably top 5 hitter. So your majority of your hitters are earning 30, 35 mil a year. Your top arms earning 40 mil a year. Yeah. So on the proviso of that, because he can do both, you're looking at $75 million over, say, a 10-year period. If he was to sign something like that, he'd make Mike Trout's contract look minuscule.
Yeah.
And that's the scary thing. Like, to me, if the Angels aren't going to do anything this year, they know Otani's walking. Do Trout a favor and trade him.
Yeah.
It's hard to say, but he deserves to play playoff baseball.
That's right.
100%. Mate, your Braves are going unreal at the moment. They're on a 7-game win streak, I think it is.
Yeah, 7, and we beat the Padres today 2-0 on a Riley 2-run jack. So he's starting to see the ball better now, and I think our concerns our rotation. Freed's back. He threw well.
Yeah.
Wright's getting back to where he was last year. Morton, he's hit and miss. So it's the 4 and 5 spots that are really going to hurt us unless we can solidify that.
Yeah. They're on a 7-game win streak, and I guess, mate, I don't understand how you go for Atlanta, but you play for the Mets. Like, you hit that bomb today. The Mets, they're also on 5-game win streak as well. So heating up in your division there, the NL East.
That was a laser too.
Yeah, it was a laser.
There wasn't much hot on it.
It was his first of the year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but what about you, Davo? Those Red Sox, mate? How are they traveling?
Well, I was going to say, like, the AL East, like, before today, every team was playing 500 or better. They're the only division that had every team at 500 or
and
better.
10 wins or better as well.
Yeah. And, like, I know the Sox lost today, so that's just throwing them just that bit under 500. But it just shows the AL East is still the powerhouse. So the AL East, NL East, they're going strong. And it's like we've talked about before, it'd be good to see us play other teams, other leagues sort of thing, and not have 100 games against AL East teams.
Yeah.
So
they're going all right, mate. I guess those first couple of games during the year I watched a bit of them, and I have watched a fair bit of them, I guess, over the last week as well. I think they won't be at the bottom. That's for sure. I reckon, they've got a few more wins in them. So
losing to Bale was a big loss, and then it hurts today watching the Dodgers where Mookie's doing his usual bit, and now JD Martinez is out there as well. So,
yeah,
but that's the game.
Yeah, that's it. Tough division though, as we say. Like the Yankees, I think they're 10-6, or
Yankees the only team who haven't lost a series yet this year.
Insane. So we all don't like the Yankees, but they're just that great team that
They
do
won't win a
anything to
title,
get that win. No, I don't think they'll win a title, but I think they're going to be right up there to get one of those wild card spots, or be up there at the top. What about Garrett Cole during the week through that 9 innings, 2-hit shutout? Do you guys catch some of that?
Yeah, only because I was in the fantasy baseball. Someone was whoever I was playing against had him, and it was the final day.
Well,
cost me a win. 39 points or something he picked up.
Let's say the bastard couldn't do it last year for us.
Mate, unbelievable. His first few starts for the year, and he's off to an absolute flyer. I watched a fair bit of that game. Just dominated, was all over the strike zone, and everything worked. So great to see.
I'm loving still how cold it is in San Fran. When you see the commentators there in ski jackets, the wind chill factor is something there. So good old San Fran. You think you move away from Candlestick, that used to be terrible, but you get down beside the bay, not much better.
Freezing. There was some, I can't remember who it was, had like a balaclava ski mask type thing playing. It was like, must be cold. Must be
Normally
damn
you just
cold.
get them in Colorado for the first month.
Yeah.
Where they play in the snow.
Yeah. But, a few injuries during the week as well. So, DeGrom come off after 4 with a wrist injury. So,
no
surprise.
Yeah.
Texas overpaid.
Come on, fellas. Mate, I was devastated because I needed him to shine for me fantasy league, and no good there. But there was someone else come off with a pec injury. Was it Burns?
Yeah, today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Burns come off with a. I don't know whether it was a pec strain or a tear, but hopefully he's not
They've
out.
said
It was a heart problem.
Hopefully not
Cartilage.
out for too long with that heart issue. But
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to see pitchers coming out with injuries and stuff like that. What about for you guys? Let's run quickly through the standings. I haven't done that yet. So Tampa Bay, obviously, 14-3, along with the Yankees, 10-6. AL Central, Minnesota, 10-6, playing unreal. 9-7 at Cleveland, Chicago White Sox, 6-10. Texas are 10-6 on top. LA Angels, 500 with 8-8. And the big surprise here again still is Houston is 8-9, and also Seattle 8-9. So
Beautiful.
bit of work to do there with the trash cans, but yeah, I'm a bit surprised with Seattle being down there. Atlanta, NL East, 13-4, Mets 11-6, Miami 9-8. The big surprise here, 6-10, is Philadelphia Phillies. Milwaukee 12-5 in the Central. Chicago Cubs 9-6. Pittsburgh 10-7 in the West.
and where's St.
Ari-
Louis? That's you mentioned talking points. St. Louis down the bottom there.
7-10.
Yeah, they're struggling.
Been horrible.
They really are. They really are struggling for some reason. They just can't get going, can they?
No. Arizona in the NL West is killing it, 10-7. The Dodgers 8-9. San Diego 8-10, and plenty underneath them with the 5-10 Giants and the Colorado 5-12. So that rounds out what's doing there. But yeah, there's plenty of contenders up there. Obviously, we've followed who's been hot during the week, fellas. Anyone else that's been standing out for you?
Yeah, Arizona.
As a team,
They pumped the Dodgers. Like, they score 30-odd runs in a 4-game series against the Dodgers.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
Yep. Yeah, I've been obviously sticking with my Orioles. Jorge Mateo. I don't know. He was sort of a quiet achiever last year. Before that, the Yankees traded him away. I think he might have been a Rule 5 pick, maybe even.
He was an
2 years
Oakland
ago.
top prospect.
Yeah.
The A's were massive on him.
Yeah, and
That is
all
going
of a
back.
sudden he lands in Baltimore and randomly gets a start last year and was going okay. He's got 8 stolen bases, which is second to Nico Horner. Sorry, equals second, because Cedric Mullins from Baltimore also has 8 stolen bases for the year. But he's hitting 372 with 3 home runs. Like Acuna Jr., as you touched on before, he's hit 3 home runs. He's hitting 389 with 7 stolen bases. Like he's putting up similar numbers to him, and I don't know, where's that come from? It's not really expected.
That's good to see.
I think the rule changes are going to really benefit some of these guys. Mateo's got plus speed, bit like Cedric Mullins, bit like Acuna. So these new speed up rules are really helping. And you can see with some of these pitches, like I think it's Valdez from Houston, he had to completely change his rocking motion. So
it's now
he struggled the other day, actually. He struggled the other day when he threw, didn't he?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the rule changes have been really beneficial. Like, obviously, we've seen some outrageous time of games. They're dropping from like 3 hours 20 down to 2 hours and a minute. But
there was something under 2 hours yesterday, I think, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Boston versus
Angels
and Angels.
2-1. 2-1. It was for hour 57 or something, or hour 40. Like, it was under 2 hours.
It's crazy. I think their third baseman, Rojas, is hitting 340, 345 or 347 or something. He's smacking the ball as well. So, mate, I'm with you guys on this fast speed stuff, but watching the D-backs play has been really refreshing this year.
I'm watching old man Kutch do well for the Pirates.
Okay.
Yes.
I think it's just that veteran leadership. We touched on them, how they're playing well. I think it's just that veteran leadership back there. He's happy. He's relatively healthy. Back the city that he loves, and he's just being the leader that they probably needed.
And they're going well, actually.
Absolutely. Yep.
They're
considering they've lost O'Neill Cruz.
Yeah.
You know,
only 2 games back. They're 10-7, but
A
yeah.
great stadium to go and watch at. Like, what better backdrop? So that'd be on the bucket list.
Yeah, for sure. So I think Kutch hit a 3-run home run today, was it? Or was it yesterday?
Yeah,
I think today off the top of the wall. Yep.
Yeah, so
Where they towed up Colorado.
how's their pitching? I haven't looked much at their pitching this year.
We talk about veteran leadership. Rich Hill, 44, 43, 44, and every young guy on that staff has said how much Rich Hill has helped them grow in confidence. And considering how young and raw they are, like they've got some arms that can throw 100 mile an hour, but they've had no one there that's been able to. Since Cole left, they've had nobody that's given them any structure. But Rich Hill is pulling them aside and helping them, and I think that's going to be like with Kutch on the hitting side and Hill on the pitching side. That's what's getting them to where they are now. Because what did they start last year? 0-10 or 0-12 or something? Like,
yeah, I'm not sure.
It's a massive turnaround.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And he's sort of bounced around a fair bit, Rich Hill. He knows his stuff. He's been around long enough to understand and see what we need. Like he struggled last year himself.
Yeah.
Whereas he was at Boston, wasn't he, last year? I'm pretty sure.
He sucked at Boston.
And he just didn't quite have what he used to have, and he seems to have landed in a good place at Pittsburgh.
Come on, the Pirates.
One of their, I think, Mitch Keller. I think he's been there for 4 or 5 seasons. Yep. He's going all right too, throwing a fair few innings, and good to see Pirates going well. He's the only sort of notable that I can remember in their pitching, other than, obviously Rich Hill, who you mentioned. But
they've got Dave Bebner, their closer. He nearly got traded last year. That's what I want this year, is that the Pirates not to sell at the deadline like they have the last couple of years. Like keep everybody, obviously build your team around O'Neill Cruz because he's another generational player. Like the stuff he does is amazing. Yeah. But the young, I think they've got a Korean outfielder, and he seems to be swinging the bat pretty well.
Fitted, and he's pretty quick. He's fitted in well.
And then Satsugo, he's given some veteran presence as well. So as long as I think they stay healthy, they should be in the mix for the majority of the year.
And they've had some high draft picks that are coming up pretty well too. So
they've got a really stacked farm system.
Is Key Brian Hayes is still there, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not hitting as well as he. I think he's got a hamstring thing at the moment. But he's their middle of the lineup guy as well. But that's the biggest thing. The Pirates, I just don't want them to sell, but I don't want them to tap into their farm system too early because like they're stacked in their farm system. So I think the Pirates are going to be sneaky good for the next half a dozen years.
That could be the NL Orioles, the way the Orioles are with their farm system and the way they're coming through now. The Pirates could be them of the National League.
For sure.
G-Man Choi, he got traded, didn't he, from Tampa?
Yeah, he's in Pittsburgh.
He's over there, isn't he? What's he done this year? I haven't seen any stats from him or anything.
I think he hit a bomb the other day, but he's
normally pretty solid. Like nothing spectacular, but does the job for you.
Yeah, he's not doing much at the moment. 2 home runs, 4 hits. He's 125 average. Bit average there, but he's always a handy hitter. I guess they have in the DH role, and I don't know. One to watch out for, I guess. We'll keep our eye on the Pirates. I haven't watched a great deal of them this year. Watched a bit in spring training, but what about your Orioles, Randall?
I'm loving them, mate. They're playing good ball. Adley Rutschman, like
crushing.
they were, number one pick for a reason, but not always do they, come to fruition. He is. He had a pretty solid, season last year.
Yep.
Potential for that rookie of the year last year. Obviously, hard to beat. How about that? I've got a mental blank here. Who got rookie of the year last year? Julio Rodriguez.
Yeah.
With his stellar season too, but there's no sign of like a second year blues or anything like that. He's come out firing.
Yeah.
He's been solid. If anything, it's been his defense that has, probably not quite been there when he's always been, he's been a solid catcher and they rate him pretty highly. Yeah, that's probably his only blemish at the moment, blocking the ball and that sort of thing. But, blokes are crushing the ball. Mountcastle, the other day, he had, 9 RBIs.
Yeah.
So the first Oriole to do that since Eddie Murray or something like that, So some big names there. But, Cedric's hitting the ball. Obviously, the acquisition of Adam Frazier was a big one for them, probably a bit of a gap stop at second base. Gunnar Henderson. Where do you stop? And then you've got Grayson Rodriguez that's come in. They've finally brought Grayson Rodriguez up. He's had a couple of starts. Both times he's been pretty dicey early on.
Yeah.
But then he's come good. Like I think the start the other day, I think with 8 strikeouts or something like that. He gave up a couple of runs, gave up a bomb in the first or something like that, and they were down. It was against White Sox. I think it was 3-0 or 4-0 after the first, and he got the win. They come back and scored late runs, but he just got locked in all of a sudden. But hopefully he stays for a little while. I know he came up for an injury for, I think it was Kyle Bradish, maybe.
Yep.
Had an injury. Hopefully he stays. There's plenty of guys coming up through, like we just talked about, through their farm system. They've got a great farm system at the moment. So many years of being in the bottom of the pile. That's what happens.
Yeah.
Just got to keep fingers crossed that all those picks actually come good.
I hope that we see him do what teams like the Braves have done and extended their contracts early instead of getting to free agency and stuff like that of players who you want to continue on. I know the Giants just signed Logan Webb. He hasn't had a win this year, but he's their ace starter. Sign him, before he gets to that free agency stage, 90 mil, I think it is, for 5 years or something like that. So they need to do it.
That's their biggest thing. They have to spend money.
Yeah.
Well, the Twins did it today too with Pablo Lopez. They signed into a 4-year, $80 million deal.
Yeah, I did see that. Like you think, like John Mean still isn't back yet. He's there. He's the Orioles' ace. He's still not back.
Yeah.
You had Tommy John last year, so they could do anything really.
Yeah.
It's just, again, they're in the AL East.
Yeah.
And if you want to compete, you have to spend money.
That's it. Sorry,
I say that, but then you look at Tampa Bay.
Tampa.
Yeah, true.
They don't really spend that much money, and
no, that's it.
So I don't know, it is. I don't know.
It's tough, mate.
One.
Yeah.
Until they get a league
minimum, we talked about it before. Until they get a league minimum, whether it's 100 mil a year or whatever it is, it's going to be the same. But what about they're having the Mexico City series end of the month, so the 29th, 30th, I think it is. I don't know. That's going to be pretty cool to see. It's the first time they've been down there for some regular season games, so it'll be pretty cool to watch. That's for sure. Have you seen the stadium they're playing at?
Yeah, it's a pretty cool looking stadium. The way the roof just sort of juts back and
the angles in, and
it's the Padres playing down there, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, Padres Giants for 2 games on the 29th and 30th of April. So both games sold out, I believe. So
Tatis to be back by then, wouldn't he?
Don't know, mate.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Well, he's
playing
still hitting bombs in AAA and all that.
Yeah, he's crushing it.
Well, they were saying that by Friday this week, our time, he should be back on the
He's
Padres
due
roster.
back pretty soon.
Yeah, right. Fair enough. You're cutting out there, Randall. Yeah. All right, fellas. Well, thanks, Jaron, for coming on, mate. We might leave it there. It's been an hour and 25. Usually we try to get out of here for an hour, but as our friend Doof said, geez, you blokes are going to talk some shit tonight. And we've dribbled on for almost an hour and a half. So really appreciate you coming on, mate. Look forward to catching up when our club plays against your club up here and
This weekend.
Yeah, hopefully
Saturday,
this
mate.
weekend.
Not that you're going to be there.
I won't be there this weekend. No.
Oh, what? You too good?
No, I'm working, mate.
Oh yeah.
Trying to earn a living, you know.
Scared.
Yeah, scared. Yeah.
Absolutely. I am
Doesn't
scared.
Doesn't want to face Scotty Telf.
No, I'm just scared how sore I'm going to be the next day. That's what I'm scared about.
You get over it.
Davo's pulled up all right. And, he's at
Copious
least
amounts of rum help.
20 years older than most of us, so, you know. All right, fellas. Randall's got a party to go to.
Yeah.
Hope those
Thanks for the
kids are on the
invite.
dirty water, Randall.
Yeah, sure. They're all on it already, I think, by the sounds of them.
Fair enough. Mate, thanks again, fellas. It's been a pleasure, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right,
boys.
boys. See you.
Next week.
See you later.